Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Seri Mula. We are here to listen for a few opinions on the increasing crime rate among school children. Ladies and gentlemen, let us think of this situation. You are happy that your child is going to school and studying well. But one day, the child comes back with few marks on his body. When you ask how it happened, the child said that somebody has beaten him in the school. This painful and dreadful act is called school violence, and it is creating a lot of trouble among pupils. So, we are proud to be here today to share and gain knowledge on what is the factor that increase crime rate among school children. I would like to introduce our panel for today's forum. On my right is Mr. Hakimi Rahman, the president of Bumi Hijau Society. Miss Izati, who is the president of the English Language Society. And the last one is Mr. Badrul Al-Amin, is the president of the school prefect board. Thank you for come to our webinar right now. Okay, they will be sharing their opinion on this matter and what actually caused the crime rate. So, the first panel is a handsome guy, which is Mr. Hakimi. So, Mr. Hakimi, in your opinion, what is the main cause that increase the crime rate among school children?
Thank you, Mr. Akmal. There are many reasons that might become the factors that increase the crime rate among school children. The main reason on the increasing crime rate among the school children is due to lack of parental guidance to their children. Parents become increasingly busy with their job and don't spend enough time with their children. They don't have time to talk to them, listen to them, know their problems, and simply don't know their children enough. As a result, children don't get enough attention they need and deserve, so they turn to antisocial behavior. In hope it will eventually alarm the parents and remind them of their existence after being notified by the teachers, even if the kids have to deal with negative consequences afterwards. Lack of proper parental guidance is a main contributory factor for disciplinary behavior among children. The communication gap between parents and their children may be due to many parents being young and ill-prepared for parenting. On most occasions, students with rude behavior come from little supervision backgrounds where they receive at home. Many parents didn't recognize that most students misbehave to get attention. I think parents should communicate more with their children because this approach can be an effective measure to solve the problems. Parents have to understand their children before addressing their problems. I believe that many parents seldom interact with their children on matters of relationship. Parents didn't recognize the changes from childhood and try to find out the issues that might be affecting them. Parents cannot enlighten their children when they do not have the knowledge. They fail to connect with their children, and that is the reason they cannot solve the children's problems. This communication gap has allowed the children to venture into various types of negative behavior. Therefore, parents should be more alert of their children to prevent these matters to arise. That's all.
That's right. Okay, thank you, Mr. Hakimi, for the explanation. That was really great ideas on factor that increase the crimes rate among school children. Hmm. How about you, Miss Zati? Miss Izati, do you think of any other factor that you think should be the most to raise the crimes rate among them? Miss Izati?
Okay, thank you, moderator. I agree with the opinion that increasing of crime rate among school children could be due to lack of parental guidance. But in my opinion, the most increased factors are due to a major cause of indiscipline among children. I feel that all schools must have sports, environmental, and other clubs to channel students' negative energy into positive and productive behavior. Schools, irrespective of their track record in discipline, should institute a mentoring program. This will not only ensure that they are disciplined students in school, but also play a vital role in building their self-esteem. The behavior displayed by the children at school is quite the opposite of the one they show when at home. I propose that all class teachers should have clearly established rules governing students' behavior, penalties for the various kinds of mistake, and the rules must be rigidly enforced by the teachers. The Ministry of Education recently instituted several interventions to address the problem of indiscipline in school. These include the placement of guidance counselor in school where the problem has been reported the most. The Health and the Family Life Education program will also be introduced in more schools and will be part of the curriculum in the next academic year according to the ministry official. In addition, the ministry has also been working to strengthen the parent-teacher association in school, as parents has an important role to play in imparting values of discipline and proper conduct to their children. A national PTA coordinator was recently appointed to oversee the process. More recently, stakeholders at the Education Forum have proposed the introduction of a special training program for parents so for parents to sensitize them of the roles and responsibilities. It was not determined who will take on the responsibility of the training workshop for parents. That's all from me. Back to the moderator.
Thank you, Miss Izati, for the explanation. Okay, thank you, Miss Izati, again, which was really great ideas on factor that increase the crimes rate among school children. Hmm. How about Mr. Badrul Al Amin? Do you have any other factor that you think should be the most to rise the crimes rate among them? Mr. Badrul Al Amin, here you go. Mr. Badrul Al Amin, can you unmute your mic, please?
All right, Mr. Akmal. So, thank you, Mr. Akmal. Those factors might be factors that increase crime rate among school children. I agree with the opinion by the most factor that increasing of crime rate is mass media. Mass media has affected our way of lifestyle, socialization, living pattern, and personality. It has not only affected us personally, but our young adults as well. The influence it has on our teenagers dictates their action, whether it has by television or newspaper. The young adults face to fit in is tremendous. Movie as well have a larger influence on our teenagers. Teenagers spend a larger amount of time in front of the television, reading magazine, or on see and hear. Teenagers also imitate what they see. The media today is responsible for body image and self worth, and this is where we see several teenagers suffer from inferiority complex, those resorting to unhealthy eating habit and weight loss. So the media sells drugs and smoking by the movies and advertisement they show. This negative effect of the media on teenagers are controlling every part of their social life. Television, the internet, newspaper, magazine, and also advertisement bombard them. So many media outlets increase aggressive tendencies in teenager. They want the latest clothing, the latest hairstyle, the newest cars, and so the vicious style, uh, style continue. So we know that the media sometimes fail to tell the real deal about how one can obtain or achieve thing in life. So I think this is why the media has such an effect on their life. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Badrul Al Amin, for the explanation.
Okay,
Thank you again, which was really great ideas on the factor that increase the crime rate among school children. Okay, so just now we talk about the factor. The factor increase the crime rate among school children. Okay, now we enter second round for which is the ways to increase the crime rate among school children. Okay, Mr. Hakimi, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm here. Yes, yes, I'm here.
Okay, Mr. Hakimi, can you give us opinion on on which is to increasing the ways to increase the crime rate among school children? The
Sorry,
ways
what is the
to
question again?
increase the crime rate among school children.
For
Welcome.
in my opinion, parents playing the important role to prevent crime rate among school children. The things that parents can do to prevent crime rate among school children is talk to their children. Keeping the lines of communication open with your children and teens is an important step to keeping involved in their schoolwork, friends, and activities. Ask open-ended questions and use phrases such as "Tell me more" and "What do you think?" Phrases like this show your children that you are listening, that You want to hear more about their opinions, ideas, and how they view the world. Start important discussion with your children, such as about violence, smoking, drugs, sex, drinking, or death, even if the topic are difficult or embarrassing. Don't wait for your children or teens to come to you. View our tips for discussing difficult situation with your child. Other than that, parents need to stay involved in their child's school. Show your children you believe education is important and that you want your children to do their best in school by being involved in their education. Get to know your child's teachers and help them get to know you and your child. Communicate with your child teachers throughout the school year, not just when problems arise. Stay informed of school events, class project and homework assignment. Attend all parents orientation activities and parent-teacher conferences. Help your children seek a balance between schoolwork and outside activities. Parents also need to support school rules and goals so that um, parents can their child can prevent the crime rate among them. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Hakimi, for the briefly explanation. Okay, so the most important that you highlight in your explanation just now is about the education. So education is the best way to increasing the crime rate among school children. Okay, so we move to the other panel, which is Badrul Al Amin, to to give a briefly explanation about the ways to increasing the crime rate among school. Badrul Al Amin, here you go.
Thank you, Mr. Akmal. In my opinion, schools should responsible to reduce crime rate. Also, for example, teacher can teach student the ways to reduce crime to prevent their student become victim of crime. Next, organized crime prevention campaigns can also be held at each school. Various campaigns usually help to boost awareness among the youth, especially primary school. This is so because students at this stage less vulnerable to criminal activities. With this, they will be afraid to commit crimes after participating in awareness campaign regularly held in the school is like a video. The exhibition contain the element of criminal activity and requires an innovation to police to attract to give a speech on crime, the effect and punishment to offenders. So therefore, awareness campaign should be held. It raise awareness of young people. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Badrul Al Amin, for the explanation. I like the ways that you talk about that you mentioned just now, which is about the campaign. So a campaign is something that useful for our community, and it will give a good effect to to the others community, which is in and and family itself. Okay, so other than that, I want to make a correction. Just now I talked about ways to increasing the crime rate among school children, but in the correction is ways to prevent crime rate among school children. Okay, so Miss Izati, are you there? So can you explain? explain detail about the ways to prevent crime rate among school children.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Okay, so my point for the ways to prevent crime rates among the school children is address and resolve conflicts the right way. Okay, some schools have trained school psychologists or counselors to mediate violent behavior, but for the school that don't, meditation is often one task of many for an administrator. In less dangerous situations, such as a verbal argument with no signs of escalation, there are certain steps that mediator can take to resolve issues effectively. First, acknowledge that violent tendency can be the result of several risk factors such as association with troubled peers, community poverty, poor grades, access to the weapons, substance abuse, and poor home environment. Then, create a safe setting. If possible, engage with the violent individual in a semi-private location with a limited number of spectators. So this way, a violent individual is more likely to lash out if his or her personal space is disrespected and there is little room to breathe. When you are in the right setting, discuss the incident, demonstrate open, calm body language and a tone to match. Treat the perpetrator respectfully, avoiding sarcasm, negative comments, and passive aggressive remarks. The individual may be severely upset, making it difficult to understand complex, long-winded sentences to stick with a basic vocabulary. Direct the conversation to find a goal. A safer learning environment is the ultimate goal, but at this point, it is just to understand the violent individual. You want to understand their feelings and why they are behaving this way. Based on the goal, resolve the issue completely. Find a solution using a complete resolution strategy and that fix the current situation and minimize the chance that it will happen again. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Miss Izati, for the explanation. Okay, guys. We have a Q&A session in the chat. Just now. Okay. The question is, can you give your opinion? What's about bullying? What? Sorry. Uh, what about bullying among the school children? Okay, Mr. Hakimi, can you give the answer for the Q&A session?
What about bullying among the school children? Bullying among the school children happens when the children feel they are stronger than the other children. So they can, what we call it, they can bullying their friends because they are weak. So that parents, I mentioned again, parents should play the important role to educate their children to respect other creatures, other friends, even they are weaker than their children. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hakimi. Mr. Badrul, your answer about the Q&A
Yes, I am.
session?
Okay, Mr. Akmal. Okay, for me, bullying is aggressive behavior that involve unwanted negative action, uh, involve a pattern of behavior repeated over time, and lastly, bullying involves an imbalance of power of strength. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Badrul Alamin. Miss Izati, can you add on?
Okay, for me, bullying is unwanted, aggressive behavior among school-aged children that involve a real or perceived power imbalance. Okay, this bullying must include an imbalance of power, which means that kids who bully use their power such as a physical strength, access to embracing information or popularity. And the next one is the reputation. Reputation is a bullying behaviors happen more than once or have the potential to happen more than once. Okay, bullying includes actions such as making threats, spreading rumors, attacking someone physically or verbally, and excluding someone from a group on purpose. Okay, that's all from me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we have the last question our from our attendees, which is the last question is what is the example of what crime among school? The last question is what is the example of crime rate among school children?
I want to answer this question.
Okay, okay, here you go.
Just like you said before, just like the previous question that mentioned that bullying about the bullying, right? So the example of crime rate among school children is bullying. Other than that, we can see the school children that are who are smoking and having bad attitudes such as bullying. Right now, I just said it. Miss Izati, do you want to continue?
Okay, for me, from what I know, there are three types of bullying, which is verbal bullying, social bullying, and physical bullying. Okay, for verbal bullying is such as teasing, name calling, inappropriate sexual comments. And for the social bullying, such as leaving someone out on purpose, telling other children not to be friends with someone, and spreading rumors about someone. And the last one is physical bullying, such as hitting, spitting, taking or breaking someone's thing, making mean or rude hand gesture. Okay, that's all.
Encik Badrul, any last word?
Okay, so they have many type of bully. Firstly, bully of physical include hitting, kicking, pitching, or tripping, or damaging property. Okay, next is bully of social, like designed to harm someone, social reputation, or causes humiliation, and can include lying and spreading rumors. That's all. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are the end we are the end of this forum. Thank you, Mr. Hakimi, Mr. Badrul, and Miss Izati. Let us think on medication on those factors that increase the crime rate among school children and ways to prevent crime rates among school children. As the parents, we need to take a very good care of our children. Till then, a very good day and thank you. Thank you for lending me your ears. Assalamualaikum.